All right, hey guys, Yonah here. Gonna have a chat to you today about optimal shoulder function, optimal shoulder health, getting out of pain, etc. A few of my clients lately have had shoulder issues and we've had to figure that out. And I know a lot of people do experience shoulder issues in general, whether that's shoulder pain, whether that's doing different exercises in the gym, moving your shoulder in different directions and experiencing different sorts of pain, or just a chronic pain as well. I believe this video, the principles within this video will really help you fix 80 to 90% of your shoulder issues. So there's definitely a couple of outliers, but honestly, this will sort out 80 to 90% of different shoulder issues. So my name's Yonah from customhealthcoaching.com. And so number one, the first pillar is having great thoracic mobility, awareness, strength and control through our thoracic spine. So in terms of thoracic mobility, obviously, our thoracic spine flexes, extends and rotates. We're all pretty good at flexion. So, we're all pretty good at flexion. We're all sitting on our phones, we're sitting, in bed watching Netflix with pillows chalked up behind our back, or, we're at the work desk sitting in flexion all the time. So we all tend to be pretty good at that. The problem with being in flexion all the time and not having a lot of extension or rotation is, so if our thoracic spine's in flexion, our rib cage attaches directly into our thoracic spine. So thoracic spine inflection means rib cage inflection. And then we've got our shoulder blade, which basically sits or articulates on the outside of our rib cage. So if our rib cage is in flexion, then our shoulder blade is in flexion. The top of our shoulder blade has this little bony process called the acromion process. And if the shoulder blade's in flexion, that acromion process is in flexion, which basically closes down subacromial space, which is this space between that bone and the top of our upper arm bone, our humerus. And in that space that's getting closed down, we've got our bursa, we've got biceps tendon, we've got supraspinatus tendon, and various other structures that tend to get beaten up and inflamed and sore and pinchy and a lot of the shoulder issues we sort of experience. So what we really want to do is we want to improve our ability to be able to extend our thoracic spine and also rotation, but mainly extension. And in terms of doing that, the biggest things are, well, obviously we need some mobility exercises. So we're going to need some mobility stuff to be able to actually get extension in our thoracic spine. Obviously, we don't want to just get the mobility, we want to actually be able to really then tie that into movement. So we want to have some activation exercises that are going to get the muscles that are responsible for holding our thoracic spine in extension to really start to activate and integrate that into movement, so that obviously, we're not just going to get an adjustment and then go back to normal. We're going to now start to tie this new mobility and new range of motion into our posture, how we move and how we use our body. So just integrate it into normal movement so that it actually stays and it becomes part of our day-to-day life and we keep it. So thoracic mobility, hugely important. Breathing is going to be really important with thoracic mobility as well. So if you're sort of stuck in exhalation, when we exhale, we tend to flex our spine. When we inhale, we tend to extend our spine. And then think, when you breathe, basically your ribs expand and contract, and basically those costovertebral joints where our rib cage attached into our thoracic spine, they can get really stiff and jammed up if we're not breathing properly, and this can contribute to us being sort of stuck in flexion or really having a limited ability to be able to extend and rotate our thoracic spine. So that's important too. Just add that in there. All right, pillar number 2 is having good control, awareness, and mobility through our shoulder blades. So we want to be able to have, basically our shoulder blades, they elevate, depress, protract, retract, and then as we reach up, they should upwardly rotate. As we come down, they'll downwardly rotate. So we want to have good mobility and strength and control through all of those movements. In terms of what's going to do that, we want to get muscles like shoulder blade control muscles like levator scap, pec minor, serratus anterior, lower traps, basically working together and having a good relationship together to be able to have the mobility through each muscle and the strength and control through each muscle to be able to have good control through those movements within our shoulder blades. And this is going to contribute to having great shoulder blade control and health through our shoulders. Then the final thing is basically having a great relationship with the head of our humerus and our shoulder blade. So basically the ball and socket joint. So glenoid in our shoulder or in our shoulder blade, and then the head of our humerus, this upper arm bone, basically come together and form a ball and socket joint. Shoulder is a very mobile joint, and because we can move it in so many different directions. If we don't have a good relationship here, what can sort of happen is this head of the humerus moves around in the joint and basically pinches and pushes and beats up different structures within the joint. So as we were talking about before, things like bursa, biceps tendons, supraspinatus tendon, etc. can really start to get beaten up and cause you pain and not be a good time. So what we want to do is obviously we want to get all the rotator cuff muscles on our shoulder blade that basically suck the head of our humerus into that glenoid, working together to be able to maintain a good joint relationship there, and be able to maintain the head of the humerus sitting centrally in the joint when we do different movements. So when we reach over our head, or when we put our arm behind our back, or when we move in different directions, so that relationship there is really maintained the whole time. Our head of our humerus may not even be sitting in the right position in our joint to begin with, so we may have to pull it into the right position so it's sitting in the right position, and then strengthen the rotator cuffs there, and then again obviously tie that into movement so that it's going to now sit in the right position and stay there and be able to be there throughout your day-to-day life. So they're the three pillars of shoulder health, optimal shoulder function, being pain-free, etc. through your shoulder. So in terms of, I suppose, really optimizing those things, it's like if you get those three things right, honestly, that's going to sort out 80 to 90% of any shoulder issues, shoulder pains, etc., etc. So if I'm looking to take on new clients, if you've got shoulder pain, if you've got any kind of pain throughout your body, if you'd like to get stronger, if you'd like to improve your mindset and really, I suppose, move your health and performance in the right direction on all levels, absolutely keen to help. So if this does sound like you, if you've got shoulder pain, etc., send me a message and let's see if I can help you. Let's see if I can give you what you need to be able to get rid of it and move in the right direction and actually start to have, less pain and have more of the things you want when it comes to your health and performance. So that's all from me. Look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day. See you later.